Sorry everyone, we have so many Perl talks and so little time. I guess it's a good problem to have. My apologies to everyone. Okay, are you good with that, Kedar? You okay?
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds good.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so we're going to have a live demo of ShinyCMS with Kai. So Kai, you can go ahead and start sharing your screen whenever you're ready. And I'm going to kind of talk us through things while we go so that we can be time efficient here. And also I want to give a little bit of background real quick on what is ShinyCMS. So basically this is a system based on Catalyst, which is a model view controller platform in Perl for creating web applications. Okay, great. Now we can see your screen, Kai. You just have to zoom it in a lot because it's quite small. So while you work on that, I think I need to turn on my TV over here. Okay, so ShinyCMS was not written by me or Kai. It was actually created by another Perl programmer in Great Britain or Europe, somewhere around there, named Denny Delahaye. And Denny's a very nice person and has done a good job writing ShinyCMS. However, he never released anything of his own on CPAN, including Shiny. And what that left us with was a lack of any real, okay, I'm just making sure that I plugged in correctly here. Okay, a lack of any real content management system for Perl released on CPAN. Now you can get the code on GitHub and try and download it and install it yourself. Good luck with that. That is not the recommended approach because, well, number one, unfortunately, Denny's code is a bit out of date. I will tell you that to be your bastion of truth and honesty and clarity, Denny is now a Ruby programmer, from what I understand, and he has also rewritten some parts of Shiny in Ruby, so he's doing that now and has essentially, I guess the fair word would be abandoned his Perl project. So I have been using Shiny for a long time. I've used it for many different projects, including the Perl Cloud project, several customer paid projects, some of my own hobby projects, and so forth. So I knew that it was a valuable tool, and I knew that it was something worth sharing with everyone else. So before we dive into our quick little demo here, I'll just say that Kai and myself and John Napier-Kowski, one of the maintainers of Catalyst, have been working together to get Shiny upgraded and Dockerized and hopefully very soon released on CPAN. We actually thought that we were almost ready to release it on CPAN, and then we found a whole bunch more bugs, which is of course always fun, fixing other people's old bugs. But we have fixed, I would say, on the order of, let's just say 50 to 100 old bugs that never were even known to exist because it was using MySQL without any data checks, and we upgraded it to Postgres with data checks. And once we added those data checks, we found like a bazillion places where it had bad data or errors of some kind. So, and that wasn't just sort of like background stuff. It was just like crash the whole program over and over and over again when you click these buttons or whatever. So it was not ignorable errors. They were critically requiring to be fixed errors. So Kai has done a tremendous amount of learning and work on Shiny, to help fix those bugs, and John and I have helped as much as we can. So I will just give another 60 seconds of description of what we're about to see, and then we'll jump right in with our little quick fun demo here of ShinyCMS. So there's two user interfaces to Shiny, or the two interfaces to Shiny, sorry. There's the user interface, which is what you see here, and that's for normal non-programmers, like people on the internet that are just looking at your web page. And then there's a whole different hidden admin interface, and that's only, of course, for the webmaster or website admin team to access, and that controls things like regular user access, creating and removing pages, creating and removing blogs and forums and shopping cart items, and all of those things that you may or may not want to enable or disable or change on a website, and that's all hidden in the admin interface. So we're going to look at two different interfaces as our demo today, and the last thing I guess I'll differentiate is that you can use Shiny as the jumping off point to create a web application, which is to say something that does custom behavior, something that implements custom web-based behavior. However, its primary or basic purpose is to create web pages, not web applications. And that's what a content management system does. And in case you really don't know what a content management system is, you probably already do if you have any idea about websites and web pages, because the main content management system that dominates everything, in case you didn't know, think in your mind for a moment, you probably know what it is. It's called WordPress, okay? So WordPress is essentially, Shiny and WordPress are competitors. WordPress is written in PHP, and I've heard from a lot of people that its code base is less than stellar. Shiny is, of course, written in Perl and Catalyst, and its code base is a bit old and needs to be upgraded, but could certainly be made into modern Perl, and we're starting to work on that with our major Postgres upgrade, as mentioned. So I do believe, from a somewhat attempting to be objective point of view, that we could put forth Shiny as a real competitor to WordPress, and once we have it all Dockerized and released on CPAN, then you'll be able to just like type one or two commands and be running. And that's huge. That's never really existed for Perl, and it's been an amazing lack of functionality for the entire Perl community forever, to the point that even the Perl Foundation and other supposedly Perl-related groups, yes, Bruce, I'm talking about y'all, I don't think y'all are running Perl on your website. Or if you are, it's maybe a new thing, but I know there's a lot of supposedly Perl websites that aren't running Perl, they're running WordPress. And that's, probably somewhat hidden, but not very well hidden if you know what you're looking for. So anyway, without further ado, sorry for all the chit-chat, but if you didn't know all that, it might not mean so much to see that you're about to have a demo, probably the first time you've ever seen this, of a live Perl content management system. All right, let's drive us through just the user stuff first. So here's the home page that Kai's got pulled up. This is all the default data. What does it look like if you click on the news button? Well, actually, yeah, click on news. Okay, you can see, this has a bunch of funny data inserted from some science fiction book that Denny liked, I think. So just click on any one of those news items, just for fun. There you go. So you can see it's just like a regular news page, so you can have a website that has news sections in it. Okay, let's see go back to more and go down to the feature list, and let's just skim through that real quick. I thought it was under more. When you hover over more, it said feature list. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so web pages, sections, I guess, that contain multiple pages. Keep going down slowly, but just keep scrolling. Displaying pages, editing pages, menus, auto-generating menus, Atom feeds from external blogs, forms, okay, so you can create forms. I haven't done that yet. You can trigger emails based on forms. You can share content, snippets of text in HTML shared across several pages, okay. Restricted content, things that are controlled by user level access. So there's users in Shiny users. You have to log in if you want to do that part. Menus, yes, then admin menus, okay. Site-wide searches that can search across the blogs and comments and everything. Site-wide tags, very good. 404 handlers, style switcher. I haven't switched styles, but that would be interesting. Style sheets. Mobile device, okay. So in other words, it is responsive. Blogs, yes, we of course, everybody loves blogs, weblogs. What else? Forums, we looked, we'll see the forums here in a minute, but those are web forums. Those are very useful. News, we already saw the news. Comments, leaving comments for every different possible thing that we've already looked at before. User registration, creating users, deleting users, all that stuff. Recovering users. The shop, there is a shopping cart feature. So that is, hey, that's me, an infinite mirror right there. Shopping cart, so you can actually sell items if you want to. All of these things can be disabled so that they don't show up at all and people don't even know they exist. If you don't want them, you don't have to have a shopping cart, you don't have to have a blog, etc. Subscriptions, okay, if people are supposed to subscribe to your site, then they'll use this to do that. Mail shot. I don't know what mail shot means. I think that's some British terminology, maybe for sending out mail blasts, like a mailing list or something. Events, coming soon events, single events. Okay, so I guess that's somewhat of like a calendar, an event calendar. Polls, taking polls. I have not used that one yet, but that looks interesting as well. So some of these features are actually new and I have not used them yet, which is even cooler. I mean, this is a relatively fully featured content management system. And again, it may be a few years out of date, but not so much that it can't, again, be upgraded to all the latest and greatest, and that's what we're doing now. So, where do we leave off? Blog. Let's see a blog, please. And Kadar, stand by. We'll be done in about 5 minutes, buddy. Okay, these are blogs. They kind of look like news items, I guess, but they're blog items. Oh, and there's John Napier-Kowski right now. We might ask for his final thoughts on Shiny here in a moment, but we're going to run through our demo first. So the blogs look kind of like news items, but they're not news. They're created by individual users, whereas the news items are created by like the website admin, right? So those are different features. They probably share some amount of code or copy-pasted functionality or something inside the code. Okay, what was after blogs? What, forums, maybe? Are you still with me, Kai? Okay, well, Kai seems to have lost. There he goes. Okay, forums. Yes, the classic web forums. Very nice. So we definitely still like and use web forums sometimes, and especially for special purpose discussions that you don't want on social media. So if you're discussing like in-depth technical things or special interest things like Native American powwows or Boy Scout camping requirements or whatever, that can go in a forum. And often it's good to put it in a forum so that it's not deleted by someone else's social media account by accident or overridden by some new policy or shared inappropriately or editable inappropriately or whatever. So web forums definitely still have a use and a place. And if you've never used a web forum, well, you're missing out in life. But you can see there's threads, and within all those threads there's a number of postings and so forth and whatnot. So check it out. Events, I haven't used the events very much, but click on that real quick and see what that shows us. Oh, I remember this. Yes, it had a few events like Christmas, which is the season to be jolly, I agree. So these are things that will probably pop up on people's accounts when they log into Shiny for those who have Shiny accounts. And also you can edit the homepage so that it shows things like the news and the events on the homepage. So that's probably something that a lot of websites would want to do. Like, for example, if you were creating a website for your company or for your nonprofit organization or something, then you would want to have your latest news and events probably as the main thing that people see on your front homepage. Let's check out the shopping cart last. Okay, shop and cart, I guess, are two different things. The shop is the online store. So give me a t-shirt. I would like to have a t-shirt, please. I don't need any doodads and widgets. Okay, it's a green t-shirt that looks like a mouse, a computer mouse, on an alien planet. Very cool. So that's with the Isle of Man leg stamped into it. You can tell that this was from someone in the United Kingdom. Okay, so add that to my basket, or shopping cart as we would call it in the rest of the world. The color, size, I don't know. I guess we don't have those set right now. Or maybe that's a new bug that we've just found. But see if it will let you add it to the cart. No, out of stock. Oh, denied. Okay, well, I really wanted that green lightning mouse shirt, but I guess we'll just have to get one later. Okay, so anyway, that is they have even a poodle widget, a baseball mascot widget, and they're definitely weird. That's the blue left-handed for, left-handed applications. Can you add this to the basket? You can even have comments on the purchase of these items. So if you were opening an online store, then your customers could say, hey, I really like this, or whatever. So, okay, that's enough fooling around for now. I'm sure we still have other bugs to find and work out. But for now, let's go to the admin interface because we're a bit out of time, over time now. So please open. Okay, this is the admin interface. It looks pretty different. By the way, you can edit the user interface, which we were just looking at, to look any way you like. You can add any sort of CSS or HTML front end to it using like Template Toolkit or other Perl and Catalyst tools. Okay? The admin interface, you're not going to try and change the way this looks unless you're a Shiny developer, because this is it's hidden from your users anyway. It's not something that they're going to see. Only the web masters are going to see this. So you can see on the left side, it has areas to control every different part of your CMS, the blogs, the news, the web pages. Scroll down on there. It should have like forums and newsletters, the shop, forums, events, polls, every different thing on there. User roles, so you can add users, delete users, and so forth. I have successfully connected Shiny to Auth0, which is a multi-authentication platform where people can choose to log in using a number of things like your Gmail or GitLab or Facebook, and the website admin, which would be us in that case, gets to choose which ones to allow. So for example, we only allow source code logins, so you have to have like a GitLab or a GitHub or a Bitbucket account. That way we can link in to see your source code because we're a source code related website. And so like if you're building a website for programmers, right, then you require them to have one of those other accounts, and then using that schema, you do not actually store usernames and passwords for the individual Shiny users, which is the default. They are stored, encrypted in the database. But you can expand it out to use other authentication platforms through Auth0 or even hard code them through the other individual ones. I suggest Auth0 because it gives you all the other options automatically. And for example, if you wanted to build a new social media site, you could use Auth0 plugged in through Shiny and accept logins from all other existing social media sites. There you go. I just created $1 million idea for any Perl programmer who's listening to this. And no, I'm not just being facetious. Okay, here's the goose that laid the golden eggs. Boing, you got another brain nugget out there, golden nugget for you. You could literally do what I just said. Okay, so Facebook, Flip-Flop, Flutter, Twitter, whatever all the different ones are, I don't even know. MySpace, is that still a thing? I think I still have a MySpace account somewhere. And you could make it so when you go into Auth0, they all log in through that, and now your new Perl-based social media platform, you can basically feed off of all the other existing platforms so that you can even import their content if you want. Whenever people give you permission, it says, do you give them permission to import your content or whatever. So it's very cool to do that sort of integration. You can see the site statistics here, okay? We're not going to try and go through doing anything else. This is the end of our demo because we've gone a bit over time. But you can see that there's full GUI control over the entire process of pages, users, polls, forums, all the functionality there. So, thank you very much, Kai. You are doing a great job with your demo, sir. And we're going to give you a thumbs up here and a nice little round of applause for Kai. Okay, now we have 30 seconds for the big brain himself, named JNAP, to give us his final parting shots on why Shiny is an interesting Perl project. JNAP.
I can talk a little bit about the work that Kai did to get this going. And when we adopted this project, I mean, a lot had been done, and it was a big hole. Like the person who worked on it did a lot of work, but there was a lot of ugly, broken bits. And Kai went through the process of first making it work on more than one database. I mean, in theory, it was supposed to be be able to work on more than one database, but it was really hard coded to work on MySQL only. At the time, MySQL was quite popular, but many open source developers are moving more toward Postgres. And so we targeted Postgres as part of this, and there was a lot of work that had to be done because there were so many MySQLisms in the system that made the system really actually not very good. So we did a ton of work getting all that working, and a lot of bits and pieces of the validation he did. It was just a really tremendous lift and an interesting take on what happens when you adopt the project that had there was a lot of code that had been put into it, but the project probably never really got a lot of exposure and a lot of adoption. So as a result, tons and tons of small bugs just never got fixed. So he really went through all those pieces. I was happy because as has been my experience with Catalyst-based projects, one of the upsides of using Catalyst and DBX class is that the projects are often very structured very similarly and consistently. So it gives an on point for a new developer, and Kai was basically a very new developer, relatively new to Perl. So he was able to grasp it. And that's something that having consulted on lots of Perl projects, I've walked in on Perl projects where it was bespoke everything. I mean, and that's unfortunately a really common scenario with Perl projects. You have somebody, who was a Perl programmer and they wrote their own framework and their own ORM and their own, and nobody else in the world can understand it. And, even an experienced programmer like myself will have a lot of trouble figuring out how these completely bespoke applications work. So it's always nice. It's an argument for building applications on top of a framework like Catalyst, because it's just going to give you a lot more, a lifespan to the application. I mean, as soon as the first developer left, another developer was able to come in and maintain it. And that's something that I often see not happen on Perl projects where everything is bespoke. Like the new developers have no clue what to do, and the project just sort of ends up dying out. So that's really about it. Again, just, it's an argument for building on top of frameworks.
Okay, well, I would definitely agree. We need to build on top of as many functional and logical frameworks as we can in order to avoid reinventing the wheel over and over again. And And I have seen some of these bespoke systems with John, and I will say that they're not pretty. It's not what we want to be promoting in Perl, because it makes people hate Perl, unfortunately, to see code that's unmaintainable and unintelligible. So, okay, we're going to wrap up our first talk. So thank you very much again to John and Kai for ShinyCMS. All right.